All right, here we go. Look at that. A vote for John is a vote for change. We got Collector's Dream. Hello, everyone. And Peter with the single, yo. All right. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Four Collectors channel. Today, I got Dylan, double Dutch bus coming down the street. All right. Boogie, woogie, woogie. All right. And we got Don't Be a Weenie. Vote for John Mangini.
Phew. What up, Cesar?
Pepino?
Yeah, so we're here. We're gonna have a debate in a little while. We're not gonna just start it now. The debate thing was just kind of an idea that I wanted to do when I heard that John was running for president, hobby president. So pretty much stole this idea from Sports Car Radio. Come and sue me, Stockton guys. Sue me for what? Like that line in Rocky. You got no money. Sue me for what? All right. But anyways, we're gonna do that. But first, we are gonna talk hobby. We are gonna talk some cards, some baseball. So anybody that has any questions that you wanna hear asked in this debate, feel free to mention them in the comments, and hopefully I see it and write it in, and I'll ask them that question. All right, because Mangini, everybody wants Mangini. You guys haven't even heard Dylan yet. What's wrong with you people? Get both sides of the story.
Look, first and foremost, I really didn't know what we were doing until about 10 minutes ago. And then I looked at the title of the video. I was like, wait a second. I voted for John. John is the president. But this will be fun because, you're giving us some questions. And I'd love to answer questions about things. So,
just for some background purposes, so Sports Card Radio did something where they were taking nominations for First Lady and for Hobby President. And so there are nominees on their website right now. So that's set. And I thought it was a joke. Mike Petty nominated me. But it turns out that people are actually voting. So it's kind of I don't know, it's not a real thing, but there are people voting.
So people want to know why Dylan's podium is shorter than John's podium. Remember, I'll make breaking better under John Mangini administration as the Secretary of Breaking. Oh wow, you already got people to appoint in your cabinet?
Yeah, I have a cabinet.
Do you have a cabinet, Dylan?
I've started to appoint some cabinet.
I'll build one up. Don't worry.
Right. There you go, Dylan. A collector's dream says Dylan for prez. There you go.
Dylan's my secretary of whatnot.
All right, guys. Hey, let's talk baseball. I don't know what the hottest story is to you guys right now, but is it Ohtani and Judge? Pretty much Ohtani 50-50, first 50-50 ever?
Yeah, man. I mean, those have been the two players. Ohtani, something special, man. They're both something special. I don't know. Let's say the game that Ohtani had the other day, is that better than the game that Sean Green had, where he hit 4 home runs, a double, and a single? What do you think is the greatest game in history?
Well, what about that other guy? Who was it? Oh man, was he on the Cardinals or they had that 4 home run game? He went 4 for 4 with 4 home runs.
I think if you include
Sean
the
Green
history,
went 6 for 6, 4 home
Yeah,
runs.
Ohtani went 6 for 6, and he almost had a cycle.
And he went 6 for 6 on the game that he broke a record that has something that's never happened. So it has to be the greatest game. I mean, it doesn't have to be the greatest game ever played, but compared to Sean Green's that meant nothing, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Then
do you factor that in? Do you factor that in?
Yeah.
That it meant nothing?
It's a no-brainer. Not nothing, but it's a no-brainer.
It's not as it wasn't a milestone.
Yeah.
The
they do it on that night.
So you have a milestone to have the greatest game?
I think no. Look at.
I think
I think Sean Green, that guy on the Cardinals, Otani, I think all of them have a good argument for the greatest game. But when you tell the story, the fact that I don't think any of the other guys stole bases in that game. Otani had 2 stolen bases. He got his 50th stolen base. He got his 50th home run.
Okay, but okay, so let me just make this argument. The bases weren't the size of my car back then either.
I
Like
agree.
everybody's stealing bases this year.
Well, how much bigger do you think they are? No. I agree. That's the part I hate about it.
In baseball, I mean, you're talking about inches between being safe and out many times. So a base being even a little bit bigger is a big advantage. Period.
I agree.
No, I agree too. And I knew, and even me, I was like, this is so stupid.
NFL,
I'm not
breaking records now that there's 17 games instead of 16. You know, and they're breaking records on the 17th game.
It's kind of the same thing in baseball right now. After Maris, that was a thing with his record. People saying there's more games now than there was back then when Babe Ruth was setting these records.
Yeah. Plus, you can't hold guys on. You could throw over twice, and then they're awarded.
And then you could take a big as lead as you want. You can take a big as lead as you want.
Right. I'm way less impressed with the 50-50 than I am with that single game that included that. But he also hit a home run off of a player like me coming in there to pitch. I mean, that home run was like a freebie. So you got to take that away too. But I think the whole overall, I think the reason I think it's so popular and it's such a huge thing is first, it's never happened. Regardless of size of bases, regardless of anything, Shohei Ohtani has done things that no one's ever done. He went from
absolutely. I take nothing away from him. He's phenomenal.
I think that's why it's so huge. I think it just is solidifying him as possibly the greatest player to ever play baseball, even if it's been a short period of time.
Well,
he played in Japan too, so you got to include that. He's becoming, and maybe is. Talent level, maybe the greatest to ever play. It's possible.
All right, look at
okay. I cannot give somebody the greatest player to ever play who doesn't play the field.
I agree.
I understand in the modern era, all we care about is home runs. We don't care about batting average. We don't care about defense. I get it, but I can't say the greatest player to ever play the game.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you, John. I would call him the greatest hitter. But even then, that comes with an asterisk to me because he's not getting as tired as the guys playing field. You know what I mean? He's a lot more fresh.
But when you include the rest of his career, this is the first season he was a strictly DH, right? Like he's played outfield. He's
been a DH his whole. If he's not pitching, he's been a DH his entire career.
Didn't he play first for a while?
I thought he played the outfield. I think he played the outfield too.
A little bit. He's been mostly a DH.
Well, I don't know exactly, so you would know.
I mean, it makes sense. They want to rest him to pitch and stuff. And the fact that he pitches and is a DH is phenomenal in and of itself. I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying if you're going to give him the greatest player to ever live, he's got to play defense too.
I agree.
Yeah, so complete player.
He's not
that's why I always say Willie Mays. Willie Mays is my number one. I always say because I include defense and offense. That's my measuring stick for greatest player, complete player. That's why I put him there. But real quick, guys, let me give you this in case people don't know. And this is what I always thought the first time that I seen the bigger bases. I was like, because it's not that much bigger. It is a little bit bigger, but it's not that much bigger. And I said, this is a stupid asterisk that they're gonna put on people who break stolen base records, because say right here, this is the old base peg. This is where the center of the base, you put the peg in there. The new one, because we still have the old one, because at Dodger Stadium, we still have high school games and college games there. So those stay the same. The new base peg where the new base goes is literally like right next to the old one. You know what I mean? So that's how big of a difference it is, which isn't much, but it's enough to discredit a record. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, not being able to throw to hold a runner on is as big.
Yeah, that's unfair too.
Because as soon as you throw twice, they could take as big of a lead as they want, basically.
And
I mean,
yeah,
he made it look very easy to steal bases. I'll tell you that. Like,
Well, I mean, all these
anytime
base
you want.
records, you know, the new 50-50, 40-40, you name it. I mean, they're all being, I mean, not the overall records, but guys are stealing a hell of a lot more bases than they were the last decade.
yeah. So some of the guys wanted to say, do you guys have anything to say about Acuna's brother?
I haven't really been watching them,
I haven't watched any of it.
so I don't.
Yeah, I've only seen highlights, and you know but I think it's one of those things right now where anything that he does, he's gonna get a highlight because he's Acuna's brother.
Yeah,
For sure.
Like wasn't that the I don't know if it still is, but wasn't Hank Aaron and his brother had the record for most home runs by two
Yeah.
brothers? And
Yes.
like Hank had like the 750, you know, and his brother had like 13.
That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Liam's the first guy to tell me about Ronald Acuna Jr. Yeah, that was the first time I even knew that he had a brother. So seeing him now in the majors just the other day, I was like, oh, wow, he made it up. I remember talking to Liam about that because he collects brothers cards. And he's like, yeah, this guy is in the minors right now. So it's cool to have him up there. I'm psyched to see him.
Yeah, I mean, Acuna is such a talented player. It's a shame he's been injury plagued. It's a real shame that he was, injured that season. They won the World Series.
Oh, that was the worst. That's like gut wrenching. Had to have been gut wrenching for him.
So we got a lot of guys joining in now, man. A collector's dream say the Marlins lost 100 games and they pitched to Ohtani. Mike Petty says, I'm waiting until they sell the 50th stolen base. It's so big. I won't fit through my double doors. Of course, there will be 7 of them. All right. So
I'll tell you what, I mean, in baseball,
base's probably cut up in so
baseball,
many pieces
like
already.
they say about golf, baseball is a game of inches, especially when it comes to stealing bases.
yeah, and then we got Stooks Baseball says in the Negro Leagues, a lot of the players pitch, and the days they weren't pitching, they played. They still play defense in a different position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
they're nonstop. It's a different game.
Pitching is defense. Iconic Al, or is that AI for Secretary of Cards? Clearly, Harold Baines, the greatest player ever. You know, and I agree, but does he also pitch? Babe Ruth was not cold going for a fly ball, shook it off, and continued to play. You tell me he had horrible defense? What a clumsy guy. He did hey, Jose Canseco did that too.
Oh, that was
Jose
good.
Canseco did that too.
I never saw Babe Ruth play defense, like play the outfield, but I
don't think I've seen any
I
footage.
never heard that he was a bad fielder.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen any footage of him fielding.
And I'll bet he had a good arm.
He's my number one guy. He's the best baseball player of all time in my mind.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, a lot of people saying he did have a good arm. I'm sure he had 2.
I mean, he played baseball.
The hate is real.
Let me tell you something. He couldn't have been a bad fielder. They played him in center field too.
Dude, and he
I mean,
played
you don't put a bad fielder
as
in
a
center
kid.
field.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys. Like I said earlier, I heard this on John Mangini video that he got a vote from Mike Petty on Sports Cards Radio. So then I went and I checked out that video and I looked for that part where Petty voted for Mangini. So they were putting in votes for hobby president and hobby first lady and stuff. So I had to do a video today. So I was like, hey, that's a good topic. So I'm stealing this from Sports Card Radio. Sue me. But we're gonna do hobby.
Collectors.
Yeah, we're gonna do a debate from the 2 candidates from hobby for hobby president. Lou Rock, he was supposed to be on. I know you guys see him in the title, but he couldn't make it. All right. So we're gonna do this with just us 2. So anybody that has any hobby questions that you would like to see asked in this debate, feel free to chime in. All right. So we're gonna start this. Are you guys ready to turn into candidate mode? You guys ready to represent the hobby?
All right, let's do it.
I'm putting on my next movie shirt. The Beetlejuice shirt.
Damn, there you go, Alec Baldwin.
Let's get serious.
All right, serious mode. So, guys, there's no wrong answer. I'm going to give you guys a minute to answer each question. All right. So we got Double Dutch Buzz Dylan coming down the street.
Okay, before you begin, my campaign told me that you agreed to cut off his mic.
Yeah, but I totally forgot my scissors at home. So I'm in the actual studio right now in New York.
All right, let's go.
All right. First question, guys. Rock, paper, scissors, real quick. So see who goes first. Go. Come on, John. Two rocks. Again.
Hold on. Let John go first. John is going to be the president.
There you go.
It's legit. So John, you go first.
All right, John. You got 1 minute to answer this question. Prices of baseball cards. The hobby inflation is going up. What are you going to do to help the collectors begin to afford cards again?
Well, Pepino, I come from a middle-class family. I grew up buying junk wax, and I know what it's like to buy junk wax. We need to crack down on the price gouging of the card manufacturers who, ever since COVID, have taken advantage of jacking up and price gouging all of us collectors.
Hey! Is that it? You finished?
That's it. I'm done.
Oh man, that's too easy.
All right. Wow.
People hate me for my answer though.
All right. Dylan, it's your turn. Oh, how do I start this over? Oh, clear. All right. You got the same question.
Same question.
Prices, card inflation is up. How do you plan to lower the prices?
I don't think the prices are going up. I don't think the prices are too high. I think they can print as much as they want. I think there's a lane for kids to buy the cheap cards at Walmart. Same price if you include inflation as when I was a kid.
My opponent is smoking crack.
You can buy cards at what price you want to buy them for. If you want to collect vintage, you can buy vintage cards. If you want to collect modern cards, you can buy modern cards. You don't need to go after these giant cards. I didn't when I was a kid, and they're
He's talking about boxes, new boxes.
New boxes aren't that expensive.
You can't buy a new box for $1.
You can get a blaster for $40. You can go to the store and get a pack of cards for $5. We were buying $5 packs.
I can't even find those in my stores. They're not even there.
I think the market will figure it out
on eBay with people flipping them and jacking up the prices.
That's on them.
All right. That's a good, guys. That was good. There's no wrong answer. You know what I mean? John came from a middle-class family. My family was high class. We were poor, but we had class. And Dylan, man, he doesn't care if the prices go up or not. I don't either. If they go up too high, I just steal them. All right. So next question. I heard that there's Mexicans coming into the hobby and they're eating our slabs and they're eating our binders. What are you guys going to do to stop this? Go, John. I got 2 minutes. Do you not have an answer? Is this funny to you?
America was founded on immigrants, but they have to come legally, and they can't eat our pets.
Is there a pass button?
Are you done?
I came from, you know, Pepino, that question threw me. I'm sorry. That was funny.
All right, Dylan, do you have an answer?
We need to be unburdened by what has burdened us.
I think rumors are rumors. I don't think that's actually happening. So if somebody wants to eat them, go for it.
Yeah, I saw a video of somebody eating a slab, but they said he was a citizen.
I already know one guy who does lick cards. That's the only guy I know.
Hey! It's not the same. It's not the same. All right, guys. We're going to move on to the next question. And if you guys don't know, baseball card licking is delicious. The first blind pitcher in MLB. Not everybody knows that.
Dude, I just learned that from you in your episode.
All right, guys.
That's that guy that had the dark glasses in the 1970 and 71 set. Lowell or something?
Lowell Palmer.
Lowell Palmer. Yeah.
Little Palmer. All right, so guys, the next question is, it's related to CT scanners. Give me your opinions.
My opinion is that I think now that this has come about, I think that the card manufacturers need to combat this and come up with a way to package their products so that they cannot be scanned.
That's a simple solution. Is that all you got to say about that?
That's simple, man.
All right.
We have to adapt as a hobby. And when we're always fighting the scammers and the bad actors, and we have to be one step ahead of them, not one step behind. When this stuff happens, the hobby needs to act, and the manufacturers need to act. I mean, now we could tell, and Dylan probably loves this, when you CT scan, you could tell if the card's centered or not. I mean, where are we in this hobby?
Bam! Cheap shop at Dylan. All right. Your time is up.
My time's up?
No, now it's your turn, Dylan. So you tell me your opinions on CT scanning. What do you think?
I think it sucks. I think it's horrible for anyone who had boxes on hand in their closets. I think it's a terrible thing for the hobby. It's ripping. I mean, it's cheating. It's horrible. It's not what the hobby is supposed to be about. It's not what the packs are supposed to be about. It sucks. And the manufacturers will come up with a way, I'm sure, to counteract this, or at least I hope they do. I don't know anything about the technology, but for an overall, based on the hobby, it's horrible. And I feel horrible for the people who have made a living off of like selling cards trustingly. For hobby shops now, they don't even want to sell certain, they're probably scared to sell boxes. People are probably scared to buy boxes from them. I think it's horrible and disgusting. And at least we know what's happening, so the manufacturers can try and fix it.
Right.
Yeah, let me rebut a little bit. So breakers right now, what they
you had your chance. No, you had your chance, John. No, I gotta be fair. I gotta be fair.
Expand upon this. Can we have another round? We have to expand upon this because breakers right now are struggling because there are breakers that are not so up and up, and then there are legitimate breakers. And how are you going to be a legitimate breaker if we know you could CT scan those packs ahead of time? Right?
Yeah.
And it's like the lottery. The manufacturers have created a lottery system, so they need to do something about this. It's like if I go and I buy a lottery ticket, could I scan it and know if it's a winner or not before I buy it? No. Now, the manufacturers are the ones that have created the lottery. They're the ones that need to protect us from it.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I had aliens from outer space visiting me, and they had CT scanner vision, and they were looking at my junk wax cards. So I just put some aluminum on my crotch and fixed the problem. They can't see no more. So that's all you guys do is put some aluminum in those boxes. All right, next question, guys. what do you guys think about Kurt's Jizz Juice? Go, John.
All right, so it's here to stay because there's no
57 seconds.
There's no way that
54
anybody can
seconds.
anybody can know about it, and PSA is going to continue to grade his stuff. So, I point to the Satchel Paige that was graded, altered, that he turned into a 6. So what Kurt's Card Care Jizz does is it proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that grading is a scam.
So, okay. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about it.
All right. Dylan, you got time.
Man.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing good that comes out of Kurt's Card Care. Nothing. I find nothing good about it. And I think John's right. I think it's here to stay, and it's up to PSA and those guys to find out a way if there's possible way to detect it. And even if so, it's just a weird thing. I think we need to get better at looking at our cards and maybe going after the cards that we don't think have been touched. I think it's a horrible thing, and I do not think it makes grading a scam. I think grading to me.
If you could turn an altered into a 6, how's grading not a scam?
It's not a scam because someone is. Look, I'm not. I don't love defending PSA and all those companies, but what I love is defending graded cards because, yeah, there's going to be scams all along as we do this hobby. It is part of it, but the greater good to me is having a graded card, knowing at least it's been graded by someone and given a look over.
But you don't know that. But they're grading altered cards. You have no more guarantee with a graded card than you do with a non-graded card.
I agree with that statement, except when you have it graded from at least PSA at this moment, it's guaranteed to a certain point to be legit. And if they recall that, they will have to pay you the difference. So the grading thing for me is more about just the fact that it's more fair for all collectors. That's my whole thing of grading. It's not defending the number on the slab. I think that's absurd not to pay for 9s and 10s and just buy the card you like and how you like to look at it. But I just defend the whole grading concept of making it fair for novices and longtime collectors to have a genuine card in front of their hands and have it there and not have the dealer tell me what that costs and what if that's mint or not. Let me make.
But what you're buying is you're buying the security that nobody's messed around with that card.
Security.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I ain't buying that.
I'm not buying my cards for that reason. I'm not buying my cards for that reason. I'm not buying my cards.
What are we paying them for? What are we paying?
All right, okay, guys, we got to move on. Personally, Kurt's a great guy. The product is great. You can use it on your face. It keeps you looking young. Great product. All right, guys. So next question is, your president, who are you going to make your vice president? Ohtani or Judge? Who do you prefer? Who do you want on your team? Go.
Oh, man.
Judge.
That's a tough one. I'll go Ohtani.
And you go Judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? I collect Judge. I collect some. I have Ohtani cards, but I don't collect Ohtani. I collect Judge, so he's going to be my guy.
You would pick
a really good person, and
you pick the vice president that best represents your PC.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Look at that. There's a Judge card right there. Look at them teethas. All right, me. I'll take anybody. All right. So number 6. Where is number 6? Okay. What are your guys' thoughts on grading? You guys just battled it out right now. Go for it.
Well, we could continue for another minute each.
Go for it, John. Grading. What do you think?
I don't know. I think I just shared my comments on grading.
Okay. What do you think, Dylan?
Same thing. I'm not going for authenticity. I mean, that's part of it. That is part of it, John. But the main thing is when I was buying graded cards in the original form back in the 99, 97, in that zone, when I was 17, 18, 19 years old, that finally gave me the confidence to buy a pricey vintage card. Not just one that was at the store that some guy said this is mint and this is $90 because the Beckett said $90. Now I know guys like you, savvy collectors, adult collectors, or just there's savvy collectors out there. But I was quiet.
But back then you could trust them.
No,
or
same
at least we
thing.
thought we could.
Just no difference. I'm sure they were probably grading more.
So, John, you're saying you could trust people back then, but not now. All right.
I am saying that there is no better of a chance of your card being unaltered in a slab today than there is in a raw. Just because they give it a number doesn't mean it's not altered. And we know this now. We've watched it. Kirk can unalter a card and turn it into a 6. So
he's a wizard.
Ignorance is bliss. If you have a number on there, you feel all warm and fuzzy, but you don't know. You don't know that card wasn't messed with. So who cares? Who cares? You're not buying any security any longer. I mean, this is proven. And that guy from the NFL who had them grade all kind of trimmed cards. And you can watch a breakout cards video where they graded fake Willie Mays Topps authenticated cards. I mean, there is no more guarantee that the card you have in your slab with a number on it is not altered any more than buying a raw card these days. So what are you paying up for a 10? All these cards you see from the turn of the century that are 8s and 9s, I don't believe any of them are legit. I think they're all altered. I think they're all restored. Those cards didn't even come out of packs 9s and 10s.
I don't disagree with anything you said there. I think literally we're on the same page on that.
If I see a T206 and an 8 or 9, I'm running.
I'm with you on that 100%. That's not how I collect. That's not how I use grading as a service.
I don't care, man. If I see a Ty Cobb 8 or 9, I'm buying it if it's cheap and I'm flipping it.
Oh yeah, well,
I'm looking to say, hey, I think it's legit. It's graded.
Okay, let me qualify what I said. If you're an investor, of course you would, because people are paying stupid money for that shit. But if you're a collector and you're going to keep it and not sell it, just stay away from it.
Let me go off that, John.
People pay.
Don't be a villain. Vote for Dylan.
Hold on, John. Let me put my thoughts in on investing. Everyone's like, if you're an investor, you need to buy the high grade stuff. I don't think that's true. I am an investor. I invest in my cards. I talk about it all the time. I'm investing in the future of what my cards look like versus and how much they're going to be worth in the future. Everyone said just buy the high grade stuff. It's the way to go. I see a future where the high grade stuff is a lot less and it comes down tremendously. I don't think that's a full system that's perfect. I don't think high grades are perfect. I think high grades are the most risk of all. That's my thoughts.
I agree with you on that. People will eventually catch on.
You can invest in a 2.
If you're paying $40,000 if you're paying $40,000 for a 10 and 9's $200,
it's stupid.
In the future, you're probably going to get burned with that.
That's what I think. So when people say investors, if you're investing in cards, you should buy high grades. I don't see that in any way, shape, or form as being how I would invest in cards. I'm investing in cards, the centered, good-looking cards. That's how I invest. I'm investing in it. It's my collection. I hate that argument. It makes no sense in my brain, whether it's been right up to this point, and I had 7s and 8s. I was selling them. I think at some point it's going to be wrong. And
how I
see it.
I agree with you, but we don't know for sure because
now, of course not.
All right,
now.
All right, guys, we gotta move on because both of you are agreeing with each other, but still fighting. I don't get it. All right, guys, that's the hobby right there. That's the hobby in a nutshell.
We do this all day in text.
All right, what do you guys think about Fanatics and where's it taking the hobby?
One word, monopoly.
Monopoly? Like the game?
No, monopoly. Like they're going to control everything.
Oh, okay. What are your thoughts on that, Dylan?
I think the ride's going to be really fun, and I think the ride's going to last a lot longer than a lot of people think. But of course, it's going to come crashing down at some point, just like anything in this world. Everything will come crashing down at some point. But I think Fanatics I'm not going to say I love Fanatics and I think it's a monopoly and I wish it wasn't, but since it is, and this is the way it's going, I can see them growing this hobby like it was when I was a kid and getting everyone excited about it. And I think they're doing a lot of things to make that happen. Whether you agree with them being a monopoly and printing these cards and not printing these or this or that, irrelevant for me because that's not really my focus. I'm not going to change anything. My thoughts are is to have other people collect cards and love them as much as I did when I was a kid and how much that meant to me and how much I learned about money and life through cards, through my life. It's so weird to say, but it's the truth. That's how I want the hobby to be. And if that is...
Hey, we lost
I
our
see it
feet.
growing more. And I think
All
it's
right.
going to last a long time.
Let me just say this. Monopolies aren't always bad. Topps had a monopoly for decades. And the card hobby was fantastic. I mean, they did a great job. So it's just how responsible they are with it. Really.
Yeah, everything comes down to morals. You know what I mean? Some people are saying Fanatics is like the game Monopoly. I think it's like the game of life where, hey, you're going to learn and you're going to learn. You're going to repeat history. You know, who knows right now? Like Dylan was saying, you know, in the 90s, like the 80s, cards are blowing up. But what happened right after? You know, if history repeats itself, cards are blowing up right now. But what happens right after?
Well,
We shall
I'll tell
see,
you
man.
what, they're not going to have the crash that they had before because there's too much damn money in it.
Well, yeah, now we got the, you know, the fire department's better equipped. Okay, guys, so what do you guys think about breakers in the hobby? Not breakers like that chick from Australia in the Olympics, but breakers who break cards in the hobby. Go for it. What are your opinions on breakers, John?
Mine, I mean, it's fine. You know, there's good and bad everywhere, and you know, I mean, there are great breakers. I mean,
all right.
You know, I don't know how it's not a lottery. I don't know how it's legal, but as long as it's legal and nobody's coming down on it, there are lots of great breakers. So there are lots. You know, there are a few bad breakers that, you know, like we all watched backyard breaks not send out a very expensive card. And we've seen other things too. So it just boils down to the reputable breakers. But you know, I don't have an issue with them as long as it's legal and they're doing it and they're good actors. You know, you have good and bad and everything. But breakers are probably here to stay. And so I mean, I have a positive attitude about it.
All right, breakers are here to stay. We got a positive attitude. Let's go. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, I just found out breakers existed like 3 or 4 years ago, like right before I started my own channel. I had no idea breaking was a thing. I had never heard of it. Me and my friend ripped open packs of cards and boxes for like 5 years straight. And I did it before with, you know, myself for years and years, just had a blast with it. I can't even imagine paying someone else to open my cards. Like it blew my mind when I found out it existed. And if I knew it existed back then, me and my friend would probably be #1 breaking channel on YouTube because we would have the best time of our lives breaking open cards back in the 2000s. We had no idea we did it ourselves. We'd break open some beers and out to Frankensons and play pool and open cards and put cards on the table and bet. And I want to open my own cards. I think breaking's fine. It's great. Gets people love it. Have fun.
Whatever happened to Razzes? There used to be Razzes before breakers.
See, the thing is that I think Razzes were illegal. No, I think Razzes were illegal. Like some guy, I remember Raz, he razzed his Corvette or his,
I don't understand
his Camaro.
Razzes and breaks are not illegal under the lottery laws.
Yeah, Razzes were illegal. But see, the thing is with breakers, it's basically like paying somebody to scratch off your lottery ticket.
Yeah,
right.
100%. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I think that's the loophole. But I agree. You know, it is kind of bad. There's some people you hear about the stories about people who lose bad in breaks. You know, trying to hit it big and they mess up in life. But you know,
that's everything in life.
Yeah, everything in life.
You
all
can
right,
take everything out of control.
All right.
That's on you as a person, not me or not the breakers. What's on the breakers is the honesty behind it. And
I don't think anybody really cared, before. But when you're talking about pulling a card that could sell for $1 million, how is that not a lottery?
Right? It is. But like I said, the lottery is legal. But the lottery is legal.
The amount of money that's involved now.
All right, we're gonna move, guys. We're gonna John. Yeah. Okay. All right. You know the rules. All right. Okay, guys. Vintage and modern divisiveness that's going on right now. How do you plan to bring the vintage collectors and the modern collectors to peace?
Who's first?
You are, John.
Oh, so number one, I think most people collect everything. I'm one of them. I collect vintage and I collect modern. We just don't. I don't understand this divide. I've never understood the divide between vintage and modern. We're all card collectors. There should be no divide. We're all one.
Great answer. All right, Dylan, what do you got to say? How would you stop this divisiveness going on today between vintage and modern?
Well, I'm with John as far as I collect everything. I freaking love it now. And I wasn't a modern collector before until I got inspired by so many guys out there, watching them share their cards in a way that made me want to start collecting that stuff. Before, I just bought it and ripped it and had fun with it. And now the way I want to make the love connection for other people is to share cards on my channel where I share a vintage and a modern card and they go together. I have a wall right here behind us. I got a Johnny Bench rookie, Rob Crew rookie. I got a gold Albert Pujols right above it. Like, I love everything. I got an Ichiro gold and, Pujols. There's a way to show people that you can collect both and have a passion. They're cards, like John says. It's very simple. Just enjoy it. It's just, I don't think there's a rift. I don't. This rift is between people. I just don't.
All right.
I think it was between older collectors and
there we go.
During the boom when people just came in trying to make a buck off of us. I think that's where it got the bad connotation. The bad stigma that you were trying to flip and get over on us. You're buying a card and trying to flip it for hundreds or thousands of dollars before you even have it. I think that's where the stigma came from. But collecting's collecting. Cards are cards.
All right, guys. Yeah, I agree with you both, man. We need to bring the hobby. We're a good people. We're a good people. We like big ideas. Okay, guys. So now, what's more important in the hobby? Centering, registration, corners, edges, borders. What do you think? What's more important to you, John?
For me, registration's the absolute most important thing, and then I go to centering. But if a card's centered and the registration's all messed up, no, I'd rather have it off center.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, my car's registered, my guns are registered, so there's no reason why my baseball card shouldn't be registered.
Well, I mean, if you have a Jackie Robinson and a big mark over his face, but it's perfectly centered, no, I'd rather have an off-centered one.
Okay, Dylan, what's more important to you?
Everyone thinks it's centering, but I always say center cards. But the image is the most important thing on a baseball card. It always has been, always will be. But I want to find a unicorn. I want both. The corners are almost irrelevant to me to a point. Like,
both was not an option. That wasn't one of the multiple choices.
Well, but if I'm going to choose, if I had to collect my collection again, and obviously I want the image to be the most important. That's why I collected sevens all this time, because it's mostly on sevens. The image is very nice and sharp. Looks pat fresh. And the corners are sharp, and I liked corners then. But now, it's obviously the image. When I say I love a center card, the image is always number one. Everyone thinks it's just centering. No, it needs to be both.
Well, the funny thing for me is, like, the corners are the least important thing to me.
100%. Yes.
But they can never get a high grade if they don't have good corners. So that's the divide with grading right now, where Dylan and I will buy the look of the card over the grade 100% of the time.
Agreed.
Yeah, totally agree with everything that you guys said, man. You guys are the bomb running right here for hobby president. Anybody have any questions to add on? But yeah, like we said, registration, everything is important, right? So next question is the national locations and structure of the national. If you were the hobby president, how would you improve the national?
That's easy for me.
Yeah.
Good.
I would take it to different venues, man. We're doing the same cities over and over again. And people from California are at a disadvantage. You have to fly the whole way across the country. Dylan's at a disadvantage coming from Hawaii. I mean, I don't understand why you have to have it at the same venues over and over again. I build cell phone networks for a living. It blows my mind. I do in-building systems. It blows my mind I don't have Wi-Fi or cell service in these venues that they're choosing. You got to improve that, number one. Everybody's complaining about the restrooms, parking. We've probably outgrown most venues, but there's got to be some that can handle it. Maybe Orlando. Have you even considered going to Orlando that could handle a convention the size of us? But you got to get away from taking it to the same old places that don't have Wi-Fi, don't have cell service, and are not convenient for everybody across the country.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why people complain about a lot of things. It's great. It's like Disneyland, but people complain about like the bathrooms. Hey, take a bucket. If you take a bucket with you, there goes your bathroom problems. All right. What about you, Dylan? How would you improve about the national or the structure, or do you even think it needs improvement?
Yeah, it needs improvement. And John, it keeps stealing the words from my mouth. I think it needs to be moved. I think it needs to be in California. I don't understand. It's probably the last national I'm ever going to was that last one. I'll say it now because it's too much. It's too stressful for me. I can't be away from my wife that long. We live and breathe together. Like we do everything together. And for me to be away that long, it's really tough. And the travel is insane. Bring it to California. Bring it over here. It doesn't make any sense. Like, how is it always over there? It sucks for people like me. I'm not asking for it to be in Hawaii. I just want it within range. So I'm going to be going to the Burbank show. That's going to be my new, like, going to the Burbank show, going to Frankenson's, doing that jam from here on out. And I really want them to bring the national because all my friends are going to be going to the national in Strongsville. I'm never going to go to Strongsville as long as I live.
Yeah.
It's insanity to me. I
remember having these conversations with people who like kind of have ends on the national, and they'd always say because majority of the dealers at the national are from the East Coast, so they don't want to travel to California. But what I think they're missing is the fact that there's also thousands of dealers in California that you could tap into, and then that would make the national almost like a whole new show. All right. Boom! I'd buy that for $1.
You don't have to go the whole way to California. I mean, you could come somewhere in the middle of the country. You can have it in Texas.
Yeah.
You can have it in Arizona.
Arizona sucks. Nevada sucks.
And there's lots of
different. Got to be California. No, you're wrong there. All right.
Okay.
What changes would you do in the hobby?
I can tell you this: me and the people that I travel with, we're not going to Chicago. We're going to go to Strongsville instead. We're not going to the national next year.
Okay. Hey, real quick question right here. Jordan rookie card, Star 86 the Star or the 86 Fleer? Go, John. Simple answer. The Star or the Fleer?
86 Fleer.
Star.
I say Fleer. All right. No wrong answers. So what changes would you make to the hobby? Talk about the rookie card. How would you define a rookie card?
Forget the rookie card. The hobby only needs one thing, and that is security. There's too much theft. There's too many scammers. There's too much shit that goes on. The one thing the hobby needs more than anything is security. Security, fairness, that's it. This hobby's booming right now, and there are too many bad actors in it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, P. Diddy had big security. That didn't work out too well for him. But Dylan, what do you think? What changes does the hobby need?
Hobby needs love. Everything
Woo!
needs love.
Love. All you need is love.
That's it right there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what does the hobby need? I don't think it needs anything. Keep making cards and we'll keep collecting them. I would love to see them. I'd love to see them get, I mean, I don't know, but I would love to see them get more involved with Little League. Like when I was a kid, cards were all over the place in Little League. Everywhere we went, there was cards in the vending machines at lampposts and stuff. I'd like to see that again. I want to see cards in every freaking store I go into. When I go to Ace Hardware in the middle of nowhere, we have cards now. I'm like, yeah, it's happening. I want cards to be available everywhere I go, like it was when I was a kid. And I don't care if they got to print millions of them. You know, it's collecting. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, it's a good point. Like ever since the COVID boom, when people were beating each other up for cards, my Target and Walmart still haven't stocked them. All these years later. So it's hard to find cards these days.
Yeah, you guys just inspired me. I'm going to do a video showing my oddball cards, if you want to call them that, in the hobby from the 80s. Because when I was collecting my players from the 80s, you know, there was 7-Eleven cups, there was beef jerky cards, there was, you know, cards from cereal, from chocolate, from every kind of business, man. And you don't see that anymore. That's the problem with Fanatics, is they're not collaborating with other venues to target kids. They're really just going for the breakers and the gambling aspect. I wish they could go back, you know, with Nestle, Duracell, all these other, you know.
Yeah, but okay, guys, afford the licensing, Pepino.
They can.
With the money in the hobby these days, who's going to pay, you know, that kind of money?
I always figured that Nestle was paying Topps to make those Nestle Topps cards.
Well, if you,
I always figured Drake Cake was paying Topps. You know,
if you have a product, are you going to show, like, is selling baseball cards with your product going to boost it so much it's worth the licensing cost? Probably not. You know, these things have just gotten too out of hand.
Overpriced. Okay, so we're coming to an end, guys. This has been going great, but what do you guys think about each other's opinions and views in the hobby?
Well, I think Dylan and I are both very passionate collectors. We love cards, and we have a lot of similar opinions. I don't think we disagree on a whole lot.
I agree. I actually think me and John agree on every basic principle there possibly is in how we go about cards. We just choose to collect different cards. I can't think of like something that we really truly disagree on all the way down to the core, except for maybe grading is a scam, where I don't call it.
Well, but the one thing is Dylan's almost nearly, like, he's pretty much a straight baseball guy, and I collect everything. I collect all sports. That's the biggest.
Do you collect bench warmers? Well, that's not a sport. All right. Okay, guys. So, if any of you guys, if you get elected to the hobby president, what would be the first action you would take to change the hobby?
Cool. Well, I think that the hobby needs to come together more. I think there's been a lot of division over the years, ever since the COVID boom, where collectors, you know, look down on flippers hate collectors. I think there needs, you know, it needs to be one hobby. We're all in this hobby together, no matter what facet of the hobby you're in. But I think it boils down to getting rid of the bad actors, like policing that better. There's a lot of scammers, shill bidders. I mean, you know, we just, when there's money involved, it attracts really bad actors. Every single week there are cards stolen, there are stores broken into. Like, you know, this kind of stuff is getting out of hand.
Okay. What about you, Dylan?
And it's funny because I knew you were going to ask this like 10 minutes before, even though you didn't tell us. Just like, I just figured this was going to be a question. I honestly, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. What I would need to know is what kind of powers I had as the president, really.
You know, it's a campaign, man. It's like running for the for the, you know, the president of your elementary or your high school, and you say like, I'm gonna make lunch free and free snacks and free soda for everybody.
Yeah,
Make a promise.
My promise would be is there'd be enough cards printed where you can go buy a pack for $4 at the store. I say print away Topps base cards. Print away just like they did back then. The prices are never gonna be giant, and they never were back then. Who cares? It's collecting. So make it, you know, I think they're cheap now, but for $4 a pack for a Topps base card, like, dude, that's legit to me. I love that. I would just, honestly, I don't have an answer. I don't know what I do. I just want people to collect cards because it's freaking fun. It teaches you things. Like it teaches you awkward things about money that your parents didn't teach you. You pick up a Beckett back when you're a kid, or you go on one of the internet searches now and find out what a card's worth. I think that stuff's really important. It's fun to know, but it doesn't mean you have to collect those big cards. You could collect little cards too. Yeah. Okay. You know,
if I was hobby president, the first thing I would do is make myself a hobby president, world wrestling champion belt. I think those are cool, man. That's the first thing I would do, on the taxpayers, of course. So guys, we're coming to the end right here. And what are your closing arguments? Why should the people vote for you for a hobby president? Go for it.
Number one, you need a president who cares about the hobby, cares about all the people in the hobby, wants the hobby to be, fair and safe, and collectors not to be taken advantage of every time you turn around.
Amen.
And that's pretty much it. You want a president who brings everybody together, but you come up with a way to call out the bad actors and to make the hobby safe. That's the biggest risk. Right now, you have, I see so many things where collectors are getting ripped off from hobby shops who have $300,000 collections, and they're buying them for $30,000 and just ripping people off. And when they find out about that, it hurts all of us. It hurts all the hobby when you're ripping people off. That's the biggest thing. There's got to be some sanity, some safety in this hobby. We got to call out the bad actors.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. We need security. Like you said earlier, we do need security. I hate when I see people get ripped off and they're sad. It feels like my heart's going to drop out of my butt, So, okay, Dylan, what are your closing arguments, man? What are you going to do for this hobby? Why should we vote for you?
I'm going to make this hobby fun. I'm going to make it fun for everybody. Everyone's going to have a good time. Everything's perfect. Honest to God, if I was president, I would get baseball cards in the hands of kids. I would make a deal with Fanatics, and I'd have a box of Topps cards. Every Little League team out there is going to get a box of Topps once a season, and they can open it in the dugout and enjoy cards. I want people to have fun with cards, and my security team will deal with the security of cards and the safety of it. If you want me as president, I'll be out there promoting baseball cards and cards in general, and the sports that are involved in the cards and the kids that are involved in those sports. I will make collecting fun.
Awesome. That's great, man. Everybody has good points, man. I want to vote for both of you guys. I'm sure I could get a fake ID and vote for both of you guys, so I don't feel guilty no matter who wins. A great thing, both of you guys, man, we need security in this hobby. Personally, I would hire Mr. T and Hulk Hogan as my security, go-tos. Okay, guys, but that debate is over. I hope everybody had fun. Obviously, this wasn't serious. It was just an idea to go with. So, we could keep going right now,
let me say something.
Yeah,
Pepino. It's not serious, this debate, but I guess it's not serious.
The topics are serious, right?
You should go vote for John on Sports Card Radio. and you can vote as much as you want. I think, I don't know, but go vote, because if we
Yeah.
realize they're going to do some, even if it's a fake hobby president or whatever that means, my vote goes to John, because I want him over the other guys on the list, because John is a collector. He knows about baseball cards. He grew up with baseball cards. He knows about every sport. He's the guy I want in charge of my hobby. I don't want Jeff Wilson in charge of the hobby.
Yeah.
Whether I don't disagree with things that he's done on all sense of the matter, I don't not like him as a person, but I don't want him running our hobby. He's barely been in it. I want John to run the hobby if that's the choice. So there's a link. So go to John Mangini's channel and look, there's a link there. You can find it. You can figure out how to get there and get your vote in and vote for John, because fake or not, if his name's on there, that is going to get to everyone's brain in the hobby. Like, everyone will know John Mangini's name, and maybe he'll actually have some sway and some conversations with some of the big guys in the hobby. So vote for John.
Well, I appreciate that, Dylan. The one thing that I will say is, man, if I even come close, the message that sends is that collectors are not happy with everything being corporate and ticker symbols on the bottom of your videos and treating cards like a stock market. It would send a powerful message if some unknown person, some unknown collector actually is in the running for that thing.
As far as I saw, weren't you number one? I swear, I voted yesterday, I think.
Well, it was tight between me and Jeff Wilson, and I was in second. So
how does a guy who's been like collecting for 4 years, I know he collected as a kid, but he's like, I just love the world works in crazy ways.
Yeah, but you also got to realize, Dylan,
he bought it. I mean, he started a corporation to make
popular
YouTube videos, and at first,
exactly.
at first he didn't know cards. You could, he was seeing, cards we all know and acting like they were rare and everything. He didn't know them at first, but after
or like
years,
when he was saying, yeah, when he was saying, Bo Bichette was on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers were going to win the World Series because they got Bo Bichette.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, dude.
Every quarterback he picked was a bust. Like, it was clear he didn't know sports.
He would force you to buy Will Greer cards. If he becomes president, he's going to force you guys to buy Will Greer cards.
But when you have that much money and you have a staff, I'm sure he learned. He's clearly learned a lot in those years.
So, make the hobby great.
But my problem with my only problem, with him when he started up and everything. Well, I have two problems. Number one, just teaching our kids that the cards are, to get over on people is essentially what he was teaching. He's
exactly.
He's teaching them to get over on people. Cards are meant for you to, flip and get over on people. And so I totally disagree with that. And, he came in and started the business to take advantage of the COVID boom, which is fine. He's an entrepreneur. More power to him. No problem. But he took it in a little bit of a different direction.
Well, that's the thing everybody's got to realize too. Like, can't we all get along? And like we know Jeff Wilson is an investor. That's what he is. It just bothers me when he tries to call himself a collector. You know what I mean? Because he's not. What he speaks is not for collectors. What he's speaking is for investors. So if you're a collector and you watch Joe Wilson, you're gonna get mad at him. But if you're a flipper, you're gonna love probably what he's telling you. You know what I mean?
You're gonna hate it because he's gonna lose you all kinds of money.
There's two sides of this. Some people think it's great. He's teaching kids to be entrepreneurs, and I get that argument as well. I don't see it that way, but I can understand if you think that's the way it is. But we have all these people selling newsletters, selling their programs, saying they make $5 million a year selling sports cards, telling you you're going to make $1 million, you're going to get rich. And how are you doing it? You're buying a card and immediately jacking the price up and trying to get over on collectors.
You're doing it by ripping people off, basically, right? It's almost how you have to do it.
What happened was it was flippers selling to flippers, because collectors like me and Dylan, we're not stupid. We're not morons. We're not paying those prices. It's the stupid flip. It's the people the flippers are selling to each other because we ain't paying those prices for those cards.
Yeah,
So
man.
they're
We all do it
investing.
for different reasons.
But I
And
guarantee
obviously,
I guarantee you, there's more people that lost money than gained money than got money, and that's the part that's kind of makes me sad, because if you get into the hobby and you get burned, you're burned out. You're gone. You're out of
yeah.
the hobby.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I got
that's
burned.
not good.
I got
Everybody
burned
talks
once.
10x in the hobby. You can't 10x the hobby when there's scammers and people losing money left and right. How are you
Yeah,
going to 10x
I got
the
burned
hobby?
once. I got burned once in the hobby, but had nothing really to do with like dealing cards or anything. You know, it's just because, you know, I'm in the hobby because it gets me laid. I don't know about you guys, but one time, man, I got this girl for an 86 Donruss rated rookie, Jose Canseco, and I got burned, you know, with the herpes. But anyways, that's a whole different story. But anyways,
Time to wrap
yeah,
it up. That's a cut.
time to wrap it up. We're probably getting out of hand right now.
3D 80s kid, where you at? You need to cut
Hey,
us
but
off.
real quick, John, I saw that video that you posted, and that guy said that you could just keep refreshing and voting for you. Is that real?
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Is
To
that
be
a
honest with
glitch
you.
in the system?
Probably. I don't know. Is it Philadelphia?
I don't know. Might be Florida too. But anyways, hey guys, if that's true, somebody investigate and check that out for me. See if it's true that you could go to Sports Car Radio, vote for John, refresh, and vote again as many times as you want. I heard it was unlimited voting. I mean, if that's true, hey, everybody,
Vote early and vote often.
yeah, as often as you can.
So official.
So okay, guys, we're gonna finish this up. Wow, the comments are really coming today. I can see why I never do this. I just keep pressing and pressing and pressing.
Vote First Lady too, Alex. Vote Alex for First Lady.
You want Alex for First Lady?
Alex for First Lady, yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining me, man. All right. And for guys that kept asking, I did see a couple questions asking about Lou Rock. He just couldn't make it today, man. He's tired from work. All right. He's not sick or anything. He's just tired. He works a lot, guys. All right. So everybody love the hobby, man, and just keep collecting like the four collectors. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dylan. This was fun, man.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao.